All right, welcome, guys. This is Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. As usual, we have a phenomenal show for you this morning. Trust me, guys, if you don't have your pens and paper, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to get them because the guest that I'm bringing out is he's going to be talking about something called disruptive innovation. You've seen him before. We had to bring him back, just like we say in my country. If it's nice, you have to do it twice. So, guys, with no further ado, help me to bring on Mr. Bobby Jackson. Bobby, what's up, brother?
Not much. Pleasure to be here. How you doing, Junior?
Absolutely phenomenal, man. No complaints, no complaints. Yes, sir. Man, let me tell you, the last time you came here, you spoke about a subject that was intriguing,
Mm.
so intriguing that we had to bring you back. Guys, if you're viewing this right now, go ahead. Don't forget, put your flames in the chat. Trust me, you want to have a few questions for this guy because he's talking about the future. Bobby, I want to dive right into it. I don't want to waste any time.
Right.
Can you explain what you have in the title that I see here? So you're a business consultant slash, it says disruptive innovation expert.
Yes,
What
sir.
is that about? What is that about?
Absolutely. So I first want to give credit to the Godfather being Clayton Christensen. And he was a Harvard business professor. And in 1995, he coined this phrase, disruptive innovation. It's a theory that he was developing at Harvard Business School. And what the theory says is that the cycle of our economy is one where you are constantly disrupting, sustaining, and creating greater efficiencies. And we see this more and more in today's society. Granted, he is no longer with us, and I am standing on his shoulders, the shoulders of the great giant, taking it forward for our businesses in the small business space. So now we can talk a little bit about disruptive innovation and just a little bit of what it means to be disruptive. So, one of the bases for disruptive innovation is to be able to do something for more people at less cost to the people. So, anyone that knows anything about business is you're trying to make as much profit as possible. And one great way to make profit is to have high prices. But what this means is that there is a slew of individuals that are not being served, and they can't be served because if the organization that has the resources to serve them were to attempt to serve them, they would have to do so at a loss of profit because the business that they're doing up here is so lucrative. So it makes no sense. So what the new entrant has to do is they have to come up with an innovative and or disruptive way to serve the underserved market. And once they serve the underserved market at lesser cost, they're also able to do this for greater volume. And this is what creates that what is called the move up market, where they can gradually increase their prices as they get more and more information from the people that they serve, and then they become competitors to the incumbents that were once in the market. And what we want to do as business owners, as young entrepreneurs getting into the startup phases of our businesses, is figure out ways to be highly disruptive, be extremely innovative, and come into markets where they say you're too small to play and play big.
And that was put in a very beautiful way. It actually reminds me of there's a book called Scientific Advertising. It's actually somewhere at the back right there. I just can't remember the author's name right now, but guys, look it up. It's called Scientific Advertising. And it talks about this, right? It talks about the ability to make, in fact, it says all fortunes are made with small profits, but very large volumes. So all fortunes, in fact, most fortunes are made with small profits, but very, very large volumes. So Bobby, what you're suggesting is that for the new business owners coming into markets, they need to find new and disruptive ways to sort of take on the giants, right? Basically,
Absolutely. And
basically.
what you have to do is you've got to understand how you can enter the market in a disruptive way and make money. So that's the big thing. So that's exactly what you want to do is you want to be disruptive. You want to compete, but one of the bigger things that you have to understand is, can I solve this problem at a profit? And that can be something that messes a lot of us up if we try to do this disruptive innovation thing the wrong way. So a great question to ask before I turn it back over to Junior is, everyone in the audience, ask yourself this: am I solving a problem worth solving? And by worth, I really mean worth, not a problem that you think is exciting and not a problem that you feel very enthusiastic to do, but a problem that you can make money solving. And when you can find a problem that you can make money solving, then you can look for the low profit margins, which is what a little bit about what Junior was talking about when he said small profits, large volume. You're getting small profits when you engage with something that is low, that is usually low ticket. And if it's low ticket and it takes a lot to get it going, what you're trying to figure out at this point is efficiency and sustainability. Once you've got those two things, efficiency, sustainability, and you're talking to that small market of people that give you small profit margins, everything else is lined up for the gusto. And the gusto being, I'm helping these guys at volume. We're moving up market together. Fighting with the incumbent, and I'm actually in a position to win.
Wow. So, Bobby, let's talk about your company. How exactly does your company come into the equation when it comes to disruptive innovation? So, is it that you help people to develop disruptive offers? Do you help them to develop disruptive business models? So, what exactly do you do?
Wonderful. So there's a few things we do. The main thing that we're going to do is create that disruptive mindset, because entrepreneurs have to think a certain way if they're going to be disruptive. We call it the IE squared. And IE squared deals with the innovator, or excuse me, it deals with the investor, it deals with the executor, and it deals with the individual that is the executive. Like, are you an executive? And once you've got those three things going for you, investor mindset, executive mindset, and the executor's mindset, we transition into all of this fun, innovative stuff. And that's dealing with business models, and that's dealing with business development and all of those different things. So we help by showing you how to design business models that are disruptive. A business model is not your business plan. It's not the business idea. The business model is how you turn value into revenue. And some businesses don't even have a regular business model. They don't know how they're turning their business into revenue. And the second thing that we do that is very crucial, aside from mindset and creating the business model, is helping you understand the new technology, the new innovations. That is what our firm prides ourselves on, is being at the forefront of small business technologies that can be integrated easily and used to create massive value for your business.
Yes, sir. So we have the mindset. We also have the business model. What about the product? I always tell people, and I just shared this the other day, business is all about solving problems. It's about who could solve the problem in the most efficient way. That's it. Guys, so literally just pick a problem and try to be the best person or best company at solving that problem. And that means the delivery, being able to deliver that product the best, being able to market it the best, being able to sell it the best, etc., etc. So you're talking about the mindset, the business model, but even inside the business model, how much of the success of disruptive innovation relies upon the person's ability or the company's ability to deliver the service? Because that's why I see a lot of companies, not really making it. So they have a phenomenal idea, but when it comes to the product delivery, like the actual delivery vehicle, if you want to call it that, then that's when most of them fail. So, do you also assist with the product development, and not only just the business development, the business model development?
Yes, absolutely. We do help with product development and product testing, and helping create feedback loops that matter. Feedback loops that make sense. Because what you were hitting on, Junior, is an excellent insight, because too few businesses understand the role of the product. And because they don't know the role of the product, they lack what we call pivotability. they don't have the ability to pivot. And if you're a small business, one of your greatest advantages is the ability to pivot on a dime. But if you cannot pivot and you don't have a solid business model, nor do you have a product that's working, all of these different things begin to work against you. So clients that come in and they're trying to figure out what to do with their business model, how to develop a business model that actually works for them, that's a very big part of what we do, because when you can design what we call collapsible business models. So I'm going to lean into this just a little bit. So we see what is called the innovator's dilemma, which means once you move up market and you become the incumbent, you become the juggernaut, that means there's only so much you can do now at this level. So that creates an entire market of underserved people, which means that new entrant can come in and they can start disrupting you. And that is the cycle that was observed and is encouraged. Like, they encourage that because it keeps us fresh and it keeps the economy going. But if you're trying to stick around for a little while and you're trying to do some things that are going to work long term, what we found is designing collapsible business models, which means you have a business model that can collapse on a dime and reassemble, and it creates greater pivotability. So when we design business models with our clients, we go through that process of making it agile, creating maximum pivotability, while also understanding how to integrate as much technology as is feasible, not like overbearingly technologically entrenched, but what technologies is going to make this easier for my business, is going to create the disruptive advantage needed. And the last thing I'll say before turning it back over to Junior is, one of the biggest things about disruptive innovation is how are you serving at less cost to your organization and less cost to the customer. Disruptive innovation is all about being more accessible, not even affordable, but accessible. If you can become more accessible, that means you can create virality, or you can create this network effect, or you can create a business model that allows you to generate massive amounts of revenue at minimal cost. All of those things are prerequisites to building out strong and disruptive businesses.
Wow. Guys, you heard it. Listen, this is so interesting, Bobby. I have so many other questions for you. We are due for a break in the next few seconds, but guys, listen, if you have any questions for Bobby, go ahead, make note of those questions. We'll be back very soon. This is Breakfast with the Brand. Stay tuned. All right. Well, maybe Bobby, guess what? Maybe we shouldn't go to a break right now.
Maybe we should just keep it running.
Let's keep going because you have so much information, and I already see where this is going. We might have to have you in for a third time. I'm very interested in the collapsible business model.
Mm.
Very interested in that. Like, what does that mean exactly? Does that mean that I could, like, let's say I'm running a business today.
Mhm.
I'm using a particular kind of business model. Are you saying that I can literally just close down the business? Because I could imagine for the people listening, they're probably saying, I could probably just close down the business. Is
Mhm.
that what does it mean? So can you break down exactly what is a collapsible business model? Can you go into that a little bit?
Absolutely. So, business model is a technical thing. Like, a lot of people don't think about this technically because we're professionals usually. And a professional that is starting a business has an interesting dilemma. They have a large learning curve. And the learning curve is this: if you are an exceptional nurse inside of a hospital, you are the bomb.com. You're going to crush it inside of a hospital when everything you need is in arm's reach. But the moment you leave that hospital, you get into an environment where everything you need is not in arm's reach. You have all the understanding and all the knowledge of a nurse, but you become 20 times less effective because what you need to be effective is not in arm's reach. So when we're thinking about business models, I need first everyone to understand that there are some elements to a business model that we're going to talk about. And as we talk about these elements of the business model, I'm then going to show you how different elements can be collapsible or can be free floating. But first, we got to understand that business is a real thing. It's a technical thing. It's not just what you do to make money, but it is an entity. So let's talk about this a little bit. when you have a solid business model, a few things that you have is a market that you have an ideal market. Another thing that you have in a business model are key activities, what activities need to be done, key personnel, what personnel needs to be engaged with, revenue models, how are you going to generate money, cost structures, how much is it going to cost the business in order to operate effectively, value propositions, what value do we propose to the client and how do they perceive this value in order to make the transaction. So all of these things are components of the business model. And a collapsible business model is one that is designed to keep as many of those things free floating as possible. So for example, what we're seeing now and what our firm is calling quantum markets is that markets are getting smaller and smaller. But due to the ability to have high ticket offers inside of very small niche markets, we're able to maximize our time there. So this is very important about the collapsible business model, because if I go onto Facebook and I have a market on Facebook, the business model that I use on Facebook might not work the best on YouTube. It might not work ideally on Instagram. And what a lot of people are realizing is quantum markets rely on globalization characteristics. And globalization is simply the interdependency of various markets and resources for the production of resources. So for the expansion of resources. So simply put, think about it like this. If I have a business and my business is a consulting firm and I give consulting advice at a cost, that is my value proposition. I provide XYZ consulting services and it costs you this much money. If I go on Facebook and I build out a business model that works on Facebook and that business model does not work as effectively on Instagram, that means that I've got an issue. The issue that I have is that my services are good. I've got two viable markets, but the way that I engage with each market is not identical. And if there is a mismatch between the engagement required or the approach in the engagement, having a collapsible business model, one that is free floating, one that allows me to tap into a quantum market in an effective way that quick and then traverse markets just as effectively, is becoming a very, very good skill to have for business owners, especially small business owners that don't have large teams and that are trying to engage multiple quantum markets.
Yes, sir. Guys, you heard it. Listen, we're going to go to a quick break right now. When we come back, more with Bobby Jackson. Make sure you have your questions lined up. Let's go to a quick break, Mr. B.
The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, guys, welcome back. This is Breakfast with the Brand. We are here with Mr. Bobby Jackson. Bobby, before we go any further, I do want to send good morning shout outs to all of our people viewing. I know we have LinkedIn in the building. So I see Maya, phenomenal morning. Taisha, phenomenal morning. Michelle, we have Portia, Patrice. We have a few others, guys. Phenomenal day to all of you. I hope you're taking notes because I definitely am. Bobby, something that you mentioned, well, you didn't mention it specifically, but you alluded to it, was the ability to have agility in business. The ability to have agility in business when it comes to collapsible business models. I have a question as far as it relates to something people would consider disruptive, and that is artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion, or rather, do you teach your people to use AI or to incorporate AI into their disruptive models? Is that something that you teach, something that you do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that we think through is, where will your business be in 10 years? And we work with serious entrepreneurs. So I know this might rub a few people the wrong way, but I want you guys to understand this. If you are a business owner and you are really in business, the goal has got to be at least a 10-year vision. It's got to be, because that's what it really takes in order to pull a organization forward with financing, with all of the other stuff that goes into it. Now, if you are just trying to make money on the side and have a business, that's cool too. So nothing wrong with that, but understand this, that is business built to work and not businesses built to grow. And a business that is built to work will work until it stops working. Businesses that are built to grow have contingency built into them. They have advancement and development built into them, and they have longevity, sustainability, and efficiency built into them. And that is very different between how I see a lot of business owners building their businesses. They're building the business to work instead of building the business to grow. So let me answer that question a little more directly now. When we think about AI and we think about artificial intelligence as a whole, robotics as a whole, we think about machine learning as a whole, IoT, which is the Internet of Things, how all things are being combined and worked together. All of this comes back to the idea of automation. How can we automate things? And when we think about automation, one of the biggest things is, how can we use automation to create volume? And how can we use our network effects to also create volume? So Mr. Junior asked a great question here that I'm going to give you guys a lot of insight on. So one of the biggest value creation models out today is network effects. And network effects are the building of networks in which the network is the value. So when you look at LinkedIn, how many of you all have a free LinkedIn account? Right? Most of us do. How many of you all have a free Facebook account? Everybody, because they don't charge for it. And if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube right now, you probably have a free YouTube account. So how is YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn making money? They're making money based off of their network. And your network effect is what is being driven by AI, well, the ability to support a network. So one of the biggest reasons why we see a lot of high ticket with startups is this. They need money. And they need money with minimum volume because they don't have the capacity to support massive volume. So if I can only support a small group of people at high ticket in order to make the business model viable, that constrains my ability to implement network effects until I can sustain them. So when we're talking about AI and we're talking about automation and we're talking about robotics and all of the different machine learning techniques, that is something we definitely talk about. That is something we build into the business model because that is how you're going to leverage volume. And if you cannot leverage volume in today's society, in an economy that is dependent on globalization, you're behind the power curve. You're behind the power curve because volume is where a lot of money is.
That's right. I definitely see that, Bobby. I definitely agree with that. Now, going further, a little bit further into the AI, right? A quick shout out to Mr. Dwayne Roberts. Let me see. He says something here. So Dwayne says, "Oh, Michelle." So he's shouting out Michelle. Very nice. Okay. So Bobby, let's go further with the AI. Now, when it comes to AI, a lot of people they're a little bit apprehensive because they believe that AI may replace them or take away some of the jobs. What is your opinion on that?
It will replace you and it will take away jobs. It's not they think it's going to or they don't want it to, it will. And our view at our firm is that by 2040, 2050, the statistic is already out there, but by 2040, 95% of business or purchases will be done online, consumer-based purchases. And a lot of business to business is already done online, right? So when we're talking about AI replacing people and artificial intelligence replacing people, that is inevitable. That's inevitable. So the real question is, how do I navigate a world where what I know is becoming obsolete? Well, you figure out how to become relevant, but you don't figure out how to become relevant today. You figure out how to become relevant in 5 years. Because the thing with AI is that AI is not fully developed. AI is not in the hands of many consumers yet, but it will be. Right now, they're already working diligently on no-code coding, how to code without code. And what that's going to do is that's going to put coding capacity into the hands of as many people as humanly possible. And once that happens, you're going to see a slew of individuals creating applications, a bunch of websites. Everybody's seen a website now that was built on WordPress, drag and drop. There is called efficiency. That is disruptive innovation, ladies and gentlemen. When they create things that make it easier to do things at a lower cost to the consumer, and they're able to gobble up market share in the process. So one of the best things that you can do is figure out how you can be efficient, effective, and relevant 5 years from now by learning something today, and then leveraging what you're learning today in order to be a partner with the changes and not a victim to the changes.
Wow. Bobby, man, that's absolutely amazing. And I 100% agree. I myself, I've experimented with AI just a little bit. I see it replacing some people, but honestly, I think the people that will win are the people that know how to work with it. Now, if you've tried a lot of the software, a lot of them have different what we call prompts. So your ability to give it the prompts, and I was just telling Sean this, shout out to Sean. I was telling Sean this the other day. Like, what's becoming more and more valuable is your ability to think and your ability to communicate your ideas and your thoughts in a way that is clear, concise, precise, and very, very clear. So, for example, you and I could use the same software, but if I communicate to the software in a different way, it gives us different results. So I think the people that will win are the people that could communicate their ideas clearly and work alongside the AI to achieve results. Now, Bobby, let's talk about your journey. Because when I first met you about 3 years ago, like, you didn't have this particular positioning. So walk us through your journey for the people viewing who are still on their journeys going from 0 to 6 figures, right? Or maybe from 0 to 5 figures. Maybe they're just starting up 0 to 4 figures, wherever you are, guys. Walk us through your journey. Because when we started at the brand, I don't think you were in the disruptive innovation space. So let's talk about how you got there, like where you started and how did you eventually get there?
That's a great question. Great question, because it was a surprise to me. I had no intentions of being in this space. I didn't even know this space existed not too long ago, but it has existed for years, right? Clayton Christensen wrote on this in 1995, and I'm interested to share this evolution because I remember Coach Sean Raiz telling me that why you're here is not why you're here. And he would say that over and over again. So I went through an evolution where my brand helped me develop. And that's really interesting. Like if you've ever had children or a spouse or someone that made you who you are today, but had you not engaged with them, you wouldn't be the person that you are today. That's kind of what my journey was like with my brand. And when I came into the community here, I was in Branded Like a Leader. And in Branded Like a Leader, I was all about economics this, economics that, finance this. That's what I was in school for. And that's what I was confident that I was going to make my living doing. And what I realized as I went on this journey was that it's not about what you do, but it's about who you are. And you'll hear this more and more as you stay around and stick around this environment, but it's brand you and not what you do. And the more that I branded myself, the more I saw a real need in the market. And I want to encourage everyone that is lost right now, like you're figuring you out, you don't know exactly where your footing is, start branding yourself. Start branding yourself. And I want to tell you why. Because when you begin branding yourself, you have no option but to start becoming more authentic. Because you cannot brand something that is fake and it lasts. Like if you try to brand fake, it falls apart. But if you brand authentic, what you will realize, I guarantee you, what you will realize is that there are things about you that you did not know until you had to convey it to someone else.
Very true.
We all see ourselves. Did you want to get in on that really quick, Junior?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I just wanted to ask you, in fact, I wanted to ask you another question, which is branding you. Now, I'm asking you this question and I'm trying to see, okay, is he gonna give me the same answer? Because I've literally asked this to, I don't know, maybe 100 people already.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say if you could say that branding you has given you one thing, a characteristic, a revelation, something? One thing, and now it has given you many things, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you could pinpoint one of the most important things that branding you has done for you, what would it be? Give me the top of your mind.
Clarity.
Top of your mind. Say that again.
Clarity was the first
All
thing.
right. That's exactly what I was looking for, because everybody says the same thing. So guys, so why should you brand you? Because you need clarity. That's it. If you don't have clarity, there's not much you can do when it comes to business. So all of what Bobby's talking about, disruptive innovation and all of that, that's not going to happen if you don't have clarity. So the version of you that we see right now came from clarity. You already had the economics background. You already had the military background, but you needed the clarity.
Yes, sir.
So please go ahead, Bobby. Continue. Don't let me stop you. Go right ahead.
And I'm happy that you pulled that word out, because that's really what it's all about. When you talk about the journey and going through the journey, is when you begin to brand yourself and you begin to gain clarity about yourself, you realize that you can exit the silo. And the silo is pretty much the world in which you live where everything goes your way. And it's just not the case in real life. So as I got to this point that I am today, one of the biggest things that I experienced was once I got clarity of me and I figured out what was going on in the marketplace, and I was able to convey that information clearly, I realized that this disruptive innovation space is untapped, and it's untapped because it's not required yet. It's not a requirement yet. And that's
right.
how I was like, ooh, this is where I need to be. And that's what's going to happen for you. Like if you brand yourself as soon as humanly possible, properly, not just buying a logo, throwing some things up there, getting your name, signature done, but really brand yourself. Find out who you are authentically and what group of people resonate with you. You're going to be able to see where the world economy is going. And as an entrepreneur, that's invaluable. And once I realized that small business and entrepreneurship is the way of the future, nobody trusts Social Security anymore. Pension plans are all but gone. 401ks are rarely started soon enough to get the real benefits from them. And annuities are through the roof. The stock market is plummeting. All of these different things are things designed to help people live and retire. But because none of these things are working as they were designed, which is why quantum economics is becoming more and more of a thing in competition with MMT, which is modern monetary theory, which is what we're under right now, which is the idea of Keynesian economics. I'm gonna give y'all a lot here, but I think y'all can follow me. So Keynesian economics pretty much says that the government should print money because it has a mechanism for retracting that money. And that's what we're seeing in the marketplace, right? Or in the economy today, is that during COVID-19, there was a flood of money that was printed. All of this money that was printed was designed to help us get through as no one was working, all those stimulus checks. And after the stimulus checks went, what happened was interest rates went through the roof. And that's what we see now. We see very high interest rates along with high inflation, along with moderately high unemployment. All of these things are terrible for an economy. And what we're seeing now is that all of the things that were designed in the past to keep economies moving and chugging along, such as Fortune 500 companies, pension plans, Social Security, they are crumbling. So what does that mean? Entrepreneurship is the only way. It's the only way. If I cannot depend on the government, I cannot depend on a 9-to-5, and robotics, AI, and automation is replacing more and more of the human labor needed to drive economies. What's next? People have to sell to people.
That's right. That's right. So, Bobby, what you're talking about there is the positioning. So you had the background, you had the education, you had the experience, you had the expertise, but you had to figure out the positioning. So that's what Bobby's talking about, guys. He's talking about the positioning. Now I want to ask you a question, right? And I heard somebody say something the other day. Don't try to change yourself for the world. Rather, become yourself and allow the world to come to you. How much of your positioning was a pull? How much of this was a pull for you, meaning an attraction for you? Did you attract this? Did you have to force this? So as you got more and more clarity about who you are authentically, how to position your brand authentically, and step into your exponential zone, as we might say, how much of this came to you as opposed to you trying to go and force and push and drive towards it?
That is an excellent question, because the answer that I'm going to give, I'm going to try to give it in a way that creates perspective for our listeners. So one thing that I have learned and realized about entrepreneurs is that most of us are creative. And if we have this creative capacity, we are usually already what we are. And I'm going somewhere with this. Just bear with me, guys, because if you get an aha moment, it could change your life right here. What I realized as I got more and more clarity is that it's not about what I needed to attract to me, what I needed to add to me, what I needed to pile up on my brand. It was what I needed to release, let go, and get rid of. When I got clarity, when I got branded, when less is more clicked for me in an exponential way, I realized that everything that I want to be in the marketplace and everything that I need to be for my customer, I already am. And guys, that will change your life. It will revolutionize your business. Because, and I'm about to turn it back over to Junior, but I want you guys to hear this, is that a lot of us are in an analysis paralysis. We are in a state where we feel like our product is not good enough. We feel like we need to add more stuff to it. We feel like the features and the benefits have not been ironed out enough. And we have all of these conversations with ourselves. There's no feedback loop. There's no customer engagement. There's no one telling you that's actually using your product. It's you in your own bubble, in your own world, running yourself through numbers that have no empirical meaning. And when I realized that I needed to get the product out there and that clarity of who I am was more than enough, it just changed the game. So my recommendation to every entrepreneur that feels like they've got what it takes, but they're not making any money, do you have an authentic brand? Do you have it? Like, do you know who you are, who you do it for, and why? And if you don't have those things, that could be a very big reason why the money that could be made is not being made. And I'll be turning it back over to Junior.
Guys, we're actually due for a short break, so we're going to go back to that break. Once we come back, more with Bobby Jackson. Stay tuned.
I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes. I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G-Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Ra'is. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
I'm just a kid from Harlem who God chose to show his favor. Themselves while improving the lives of others.
All right, guys, we are back. Welcome back. I do want to just send a quick shout out to everybody who has been tuned in so far. I want to give everybody a gift though, right? So, guys, if you want to learn more about branding, if you want to learn more about doing exactly what Bobby has done, then today at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you could join us for the Branded Like a Leader Masterclass. Mr. B, would you be able to put that link up somewhere on the screen so that people can get the information? So, guys, right there, so www.livedeepdive.com. It's 100% free of charge. Please come and also invite one or two other people that you know who may be interested in branding themselves. So, Bobby, it's been an amazing talk as usual. Let's lean a little bit more into your journey, right? So we got from where you started, we got up to the positioning, which is the disruptive innovation. Excuse me. What do you see coming up for the future? Because you spoke about positioning yourself for like 5 or 10 years from now.
Yes.
So share just a little bit of the vision with us, the vision for your brand.
The vision for the brand here is to become dominant, to dominate our industry. And our industry would be small business development and entrepreneurship. So we know that as entrepreneurship begins to expand and grow and become demanded instead of a luxury, like guys, I need y'all to understand right now, entrepreneurship is a lot like the car, the before the Model T, like the original car, only the best of the best had it. The richest and the brightest had it. But when Ford came out, he created the Model T, right? And this was the first economically affordable car for just about anybody to have. So what our goal is to be there, to be the Model T of entrepreneurship. That's about the easiest I can put it, because it's going to be required of everybody very, very soon. And we want to be at the forefront of disruptive innovation so that as new entrants are entering the market, they come through us to do it. They get their executive development in the startup phase here, because there's various levels to executive development. I'm not necessarily concerned about working with the Fortune 500 executive. Like that person can come here and work with Sean Rais, right? I'm here to work with the individual that is figuring out business and figuring out how to get it going. So the next thing that we're going to be doing in the future is leveraging collapsible business models, designing and pioneering quantum markets and quantum economics. How do mini markets, what are the mechanics of mini markets and quantum markets? What are the necessities and best practices for traversing niche markets, and how are markets expanding? And the last thing that I'll share you guys with, which is something I can share without the NDA, right? Without the NDA in place, would be this platform. We are planning to be the platform that entrepreneurs engage on, that they operate on, that they spend all their time on as they're developing and growing their businesses that are now replacing the day job. And when every person on planet Earth is required to be an entrepreneur, we want to be a part of the foundation and infrastructure that's making it possible.
Wow. Bobby, do you see a future where anybody could afford not to build a brand?
Oh,
is that a question? Building a brand, is that an option? Yes, no? Can people, I mean, of course, there's always going to be some people who say, no, I don't need to do that. But just from your perspective, from your knowledge, from your insight, do you see it being not possible, but really smart to not build a brand?
I would say that's one of the worst things you can do as an entrepreneur. Like there's a lot of things that you can do to crush your business. But one of the easiest ways to crush your business in today's economy is to not have a brand. And the reason that that's the easiest way to crush your business is because the economy and market is becoming noisier and noisier and noisier. And what that means is that your ability to Web3 isn't even here yet, and that's going to change the game. Virtual reality, are like being inside of the metaverse, is going to change the game. Virtual real estate is already being brought up now. So if you think it's hard for you to get heard on Facebook, Instagram, when there's no virtual headsets, no people walking around in virtual reality headsets, like imagine being unbranded, no name, no positioning inside of a metaverse that everybody's trying to figure out. You will be buried.
I agree 100%. 100%. Now, I want to send a quick shout out to Sean. So Sean's not here this morning, guys, but Sean and I, we go live every Monday. So Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. You definitely want to tune in. So shout out to Sean. And Bobby, just tell us about your experience with Sean, working with him, and how instrumental has he been when it comes to this particular positioning. I've seen you go through many like different iterations. So more on the economic side, more on the finance side. Now you're in the disruptive innovation space. So what has been your experience working with Sean, and how instrumental has he been with regards to this particular position?
I would say very instrumental, because one thing about leadership is you have to lead by example. And Sean is one of the most innovative thinkers that I know, and I read his blogs on LinkedIn. I recommend that to everybody if you like good articles and stuff like that about branding. But one of the things about Sean and about his thought leadership is that he sees things coming a mile away. When NIL became important, I believe it's name, identity, and likeness. That was something that the NCAA was, figuring out with their players. So when I saw that, I was like, why is he doing that? Like, why is he engaging in NIL the way he is, when the ideal market that he talks to, that I see, are entrepreneurs and executives and professionals. They're not sports athletes. And what I realized was, this man is 5 steps ahead. He's 10 steps ahead. He understands that name, identity, and likeness is going to be not only a requirement for sports athletes, but a requirement for you as a creator. I need y'all to hear this, like massive. Like, I am where I am, guys. Image, there it is. Name, image, and likeness, right? And one of the things that I need everyone to understand about branding and about innovations is that everybody is a creator today. Everybody that posts online is a creator. And when you are an athlete on the field, you're making plays, you're creating something. And what they weren't able to do is they weren't able to leverage their creativity, their athletic skills in a way that was monetizable. I know that's not a word. They couldn't monetize, right? And that's what branding like a leader did for me. And that's how Sean Wright East has impacted me, because now when I saw that was pivotal for me. I said, ooh, he 9, 5, 10, 15 steps ahead. I need to do that. And once I saw that, I stepped back and I said, I'm in the finance space. I'm in the economic space. That's what I went to school for. I'm working toward joining my MBA program this year. Like, what can I do to be 10 steps ahead? And then I was like, disruptive innovation. Because as the markets grow and expand and entrepreneurship becomes more and more lethal and in demand and more competitive, what are they going to need? They're going to need a way to enter markets. And one of the best ways to enter markets is through disruptive innovation. And if I can dominate that area and create the platform for people to come through and be as disruptive as humanly possible and build businesses that thrive, grow, and dominate their industries, I'll be indispensable.
100%.
I'll be indispensable.
100%. Bobby, it has been absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal, brother. And like I always tell you, it's been amazing just to see your brand grow and to see you become the person that you are today. And I definitely look forward to having you again in the near future on Breakfast with the Brand. Guys, again, if you want to learn more about how you can brand yourself, go to www.livedeepdive.com. It is 100% free of charge. The only investment is your time. That's it. That's the only investment. And if you don't have time, so Bobby said, and let me know if I'm right, people with money don't have no time. People with time don't have no money. So if people tell me, hey, I'm not ready to make an investment, that's fine. Well, you have time. So invest the time that you have, right? Invest the time to get the knowledge that you need so you could at least move the needle from where you are right now to a little bit closer to where you want to go. So again, guys, thank you so much. We're gonna be back on Monday, 7 a.m. I'll be on with Sean. Bobby, is there any closing statement or last words that you want to say to the audience before we sign off?
No, I really say thank you guys for having me here. The other thing that I would recommend to every entrepreneur, two things. If you want to be disruptive and you want to be innovative, the two things you need to make this possible is a phenomenal brand and an extraordinary business model. Those two things. If you can get your brand nice and tight, that will allow you to differentiate yourself in the market and start gaining control of the market so that you can move up market. If you get an innovative business model, that will enable you to provide value to the market at less cost than your competitors. And that's what's needed to enter into a market. You get those two things, you can be highly disruptive, highly innovative, and make all the money that you seek to make.
All right. Thank you very much, brothers. Guys, this has been Breakfast with the Brand, the #1 podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry-leading brand. I'll see you on Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's grow.